sites cleaned and resources extended to any individuals encountered in these areas. Next slide. It's gonna be next slide. Next slide. 21 Yates Avenue. Okay, next slide. Okay, and March 3rd, 2025, deputies assisted the Citadel with a Dodgers event. Dodger player Teoscar Hernandez made an appearance and took photographs with the public. Mr. Teoscar Hernandez. Next slide, please. It was a good turnout, by the way. Next slide. Okay, and actually today, we assisted Rosewood STEAM Academy with their 18th annual science fair. SAO deputies were tasked with judging the science fair. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. And for the month of April and starting, towards the end of March, and now continuing for the entire month of April, we're going to be commencing saturation controls at the Veteran Park area. Any questions?
Does the City Council have any questions? Go ahead.
Sergeant, thank you so much for the presentation. I just wanted to make a general comment. In your reports, I continue to see that the team is doing a lot of like events with the schools, in the community, and I think that that is something that we've always talked about seeing, which is effective community policing, and the first step to doing that, right, is to being involved in the community. So I just wanted to commend you for that, and I know you came in to fill big shoes that were left by a previous sergeant, and you're fulfilling them little by little. So thank you for doing that, and also thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and introducing me to the team. Members that I didn't realize we had new SAO deputies, and just really it was a really good conversation, being able to understand the roles, and it was really refreshing to hear from them, to hear what their vision is of working in a special problems team in the City of Commerce. And I could see that exactly what they were saying that they wanted to do is exactly what you guys are doing. So just thank you for that. Thank you for being more involved, and that's it. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Anybody else? We're good. Thank you, Sarge. Appreciate it. We'll now move on to item number 8, award construction contract for the City Hall and Veterans Neighborhood Library re-roofing project.
Thank you, Mayor and members of City Council. This item is part of the current year CIP plan for the re-roofing at Veterans Park and here at City Hall. After the bids came in, originally there was $600,000 allocated. The bids came in and the costs are higher than anticipated, as detailed in the staff report. And so this is both seeking approval for award of contract to the most responsible bidder, and also to augment the budget by $368,000 from Measure AA.
Okay, is there any questions from City Council?
Just a quick question.
Okay.
City Manager, I see here that the first lowest bidder was non-responsive. Does that mean, like, what are the forms of communication that we send out? They just didn't respond to us?
So there was some information missing. The addendum was provided to the bidder, and the city did not receive any responses back.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so you have a question? Sorry about that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Actually, a comment, and maybe a question, but as I was looking through the agreement for this project, one of the things that I didn't see was a schedule of performance. And so, I know the city is going through some growth, right? And, we have a lot of CIPs in the pipeline. And so I think one of the things that we should be doing is including schedule of performances in our public works contracts, and if there are any challenges in doing so, I'd like to understand what those may be.
I think I'm listening to the direction provided by the city council, and there is no challenges. It's simply a part of the initial process with regards to the RFQ or RFP. And so certainly we will communicate that to the public works staff and CIP staff about making sure that there is at least a requirement to provide some level of a scheduled timeline for performance.
Yeah, I think, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I think it would be good for us to have that in our contracts and know it. I know other cities do it as well, and, I think we should. So that's my comment, if we can make that improvement moving forward. And then I guess my question is now, is there a schedule for this project? Do we know when this would commence and approximately how long it would take?
So if approved tonight, it's anticipated to be completed by the end of July. The engineers believe that because of the time of the year, we shouldn't experience any weather delays. So that is the anticipated completion date.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Those are my comments.
Absolutely. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, does the city council want to move forward in adopting the resolution awarding this contract per staff's recommendation? Is there a motion? There's a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. We'll now move on to item number 9, which is Art in Public Places Program.
So the staff report prepared consists of 3 portions for the Arts in Public Places program. And number 1 is the art pieces provided by Calixto that previously at the last council meeting, one piece of art was already approved, and this is the remaining for completion of that bridge. We will have a PowerPoint, and you have the printed brochure for you, like all the art pieces numbered. Since the council asked for more options, he submitted several options, and that will be the first portion to choose additional final art piece for that Atlantic and Goodrich Bridge. Second part, like council expressed interest in providing lighting for that bridge and art pieces. Staff basically estimating that lighting project will cost around $10,000 plus the plaque for completion of that artwork to commemorate that. Should the cost will be different, we'll come back and provide more correct estimates. The Art in Public Places also providing 10 or 11 pieces. Should any interest to choose any additional pieces for their future locations, once Art in Public Places Committee identifies, you have the choice to do it today. And I know that Art in Public Places wanted to introduce new artists that they're going to start negotiating.
So I reached out to Calixto, and we actually had a conversation, and I had Councilwoman Miriam Garcia take a look at some of the art, and we just said, just send everything and bring it up here. I know that Councilmember Argumedo wanted to finish that bridge area, so here's multiple pieces of art. See if you guys want to choose one from here, and you guys we'll finish that up, and also if you guys like more than one, there's an opportunity to then choose a wall within the arts district to put it up there. It's up to you guys to see if you guys like it. Also, I spoke to Paul Boteo, I think is his name, and he's a pretty famous artist apparently, and he does murals throughout LA and universities. He does a lot of Chicano art. So I asked him for some samples, and if you guys like it, then we'll start to engage with him as well, and we'll choose a wall as soon as that's approved, and we can he can create something that will work for City of Commerce. The $10,000, I think we kind of just threw that number out there on Argumento. I don't know if you think that number sounds about right, because if we're going to do electrical, we're going to have 5 pieces there. We got to consider how much that's going to cost, and then second, if we do put cameras, I think it's going to exceed 10,000. So if we want to come up with something like not to exceed for now and then come back to City Council, or if we should I mean, if you want to stick with 10,000, I think we're gonna have to come back. So if we want to get it done fairly quickly, I think we're gonna need more than 10,000. I'm thinking if we bump it to 20,000, not to exceed 20,000, and if there's a savings, there's a savings. But if we need more, then we would have to come back to city council, and whatever your thoughts are on it. But just
I agree. I don't know whether I'm not the expert.
yeah, I know we just kind of threw it out there with the city manager, but I was really thinking, being in construction, I know how much it costs, and I don't think that the cost is going to be 10,000. I think it's going to exceed that. So just to save some time, I would recommend we add another 10,000 to that from the arts and public places.
Whatever budget you determine.
Okay.
Not that it's irrelevant, but essentially any savings associated with that goes right back into the fund anyway, so.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you're committed to the lighting and all that it would take to make that lighting possible and cameras, and I think you're right? You just allocate a much larger number and whatever savings go back into the fund.
Okay. Are you guys okay with adding $25,000 so we won't have to come to city council? And if it doesn't exceed that, it comes back anyways to our account. Are you guys okay with that?
I think we really want to increase it.
Okay.
So it's good.
It is. Okay.
And the other items here, are we talking about selecting from these
You-
potentially for the area there that we're talking about?
You can select anything that you like here to finish the bridge. I think we have one more piece. Or if you like two pieces, I know we passed one 2 weeks ago, but if you like two pieces and change your mind on what you want, then we'll change that. It's not too late to change that. But if you like 10 pieces, then just know that we can also choose those extra pieces, and you can choose where you want them throughout the city. So,
Let me just clarify something. You mentioned there's only one piece needed, that's one piece for the other side that's already started.
right.
correct?
Yes.
There's only one slot open.
Yes.
But what about the other side?
So I think in the last meeting, we spoke about finding another Chicano artist to finish that site. So that way we have Calixto all on one side, which I think it'll total 5 pieces. And then across from that, we can find another Chicano artist, or you can have Calixto just do both sides. Up to you. And that's kind of like why I brought like these the pieces. The majority of them in the magazine that you have there. The only ones that aren't are when it starts with Paul. So in this little pamphlet, you have, I think, sorry about that. We have 11 pieces from Calixto.
And just for clarification, so I understand, there's 2 pieces still left, or 2, let's call them
Frames.
boards, right? Free space. One has already been approved and budgeted for and selected the artwork. So what's before you tonight is to select and approve a second one so that wall is completely done.
One side or both sides?
It'd be just the one side.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking the question. Right, I thought it would be the whole thing. It's not. And are we doing just one side and lighting them? So no, like, we went to the other side until two that are made at the same time?
So I think with the budget you presented, we can certainly, pre-wire the other side. But the committee did not discuss the artwork for the other side. But I think, as the mayor suggested, if the city council likes some of the art pieces that could work for the other side, then, you could make that direction tonight, so.
Yeah, and Councilmember Argumento, it seems like your appetite is pretty big for art. I think you're starting to love art or appreciate what's happening here. So if you want to finish that other side, there's plenty of art here to choose from if you like them. Or I can have them also go back to the drawing board and try to bring in more things for you.
From my, just my comments is, number one, I absolutely would like to finish that. I think it's a great opportunity for us to make a great statement for anybody visiting our city.
Okay.
That's great. And it's a big start for our people as well. But I also want to include the rest of the council in providing input and making some of the selections. I mean, if we feel comfortable with some of the items that we see here, I like it. I think it's good art. And,
Okay.
but again, if we want to go with another artist, it's fine. But we should make a selection and decide on some of the potential art pieces of artwork that we can put there. And I really think it's going to make a huge statement for people visiting our city, Citadel, into the Citadel. We got a lot of foot traffic too. With the lighting, people definitely provide a little bit more security. People will be less likely to vandalize along that way.
Okay, I agree. I mean, if city council likes 6 pieces, because if we finish one side of the bridge, then I believe there's 5 more pieces on the other side. I'm okay with choosing 6 pieces from Calixto. I mean, they're all beautiful pieces. You're correct. So
When he's done, are you done with your? No, I think all these pieces are beautiful. I definitely think we should pick one to finish that wall. But I think I made this comment at the previous meeting. I also think that it's really important to give other artists the opportunity to bring their artwork here to the city. I have a few questions. I had a few phone calls from residents and then some reached out to me via Messenger on my public Facebook. So I just want to make sure that I acknowledge their questions. And if we can just first do a clarification of where this funding is coming from, because I know it doesn't come from the general fund, but some of the questions were, and just so that if the general public really has the same questions, is where is the funding coming from to fund the artists, their travel, and then all that stuff? And you kind of talked about it earlier. It comes from the...
we about 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, we created I forget what you call it. The city manager can help me with it, but we created some system where the companies that want to do any construction to their businesses, they have to pay a portion of a little tax that goes towards art only. So any new building or construction to a certain amount, which is maybe a couple million, I forget what it is. But to our city manager, do you remember what that's called?
So it's essentially an impact fee. So it's a art and public places development fee. And, because generally, especially in our community where 80% of the community is industrial, it provides resources to add some art to the city, right? And to provide that aesthetic and the quality of life for the residents. The Art and Public Places Fund also receives a annual revenue source through Measure AA, which is a sales tax portion that the City Council and the community through the committee creates essentially different funding breakdowns, and one of those breakdowns is Art and Public Places.
And just for clarification, just for clarification, in addition, I believe it's if you're putting up a project, making some changes to you have the option of creating art and placing it there or paying into this fund. So,
You're right.
So those are the two things.
Yeah, you're right. The actual businesses have the ability to create a piece of art in front of their building or give us the funds, and the majority of every business out there has decided to give it to us to be able to control the arts district. So it's been good, and right now I think we currently have just under $2 million to spend with this art.
Awesome. Thank you for the clarification, and thank you for that, because the next question was, well, how much money is in that fund? And I did, just again for clarity and for the community to know, all this is public records. You can come in, pull public records, and see where the money's going, how it's being spent. But I think it's a good idea to maybe the next time we come together, kind of just we can give like an update of how much money we have left in that fund. And that's one. Again, another question was, why aren't we using local artists? And this was already answered here today, because we have these wonderful artists submitting from East LA. The next question is, how can more artists submit their artwork to the committee for consideration?
Mm-hmm. Now, they created an email in the past, but I'm not sure if we're really promoting it. I mean, it's on the website. I think we put it on Facebook before. But any suggestions, please help, because,
So can an artist go into our website now and submit their, you said there's an email?
yeah, there's some sort of email that exists, and I'm not sure who has control of that email. Are you guys aware of this email?
I'm not sure where it's going, but I'll check next time.
Okay.
If we can make sure that we work on that, I didn't realize, I mean, I knew art is important and amazing, but I didn't realize there are a group of residents that are very interested in and grateful for the work that you're doing with the arts in the City of Commerce. So there's been all these questions that I'm like, I don't know. Let me send you over to the mayor. That's his baby. But they did want me to, ask these questions here today. So, yeah, if we can make sure that information is accessible to the public, that would be awesome.
So just to clarify Councilmember DeBoyo's question, so when there are art specific or site specific, so the last time we basically put out an RFQ to get artists from anywhere, and all the portal was open, and we accepted samples of art and information related to that. But so, for example, you mentioned if we did the other side and we wanted to RFP for that or RFQ for that, that would then initiate this process all over again. We don't we don't accept just artists throughout the whole year. It's site specific. So, we're looking at this site, right? Because it's important. So, for example, the other side of the bridge has, and I don't know the right terminology, but essentially they have, blank painting boards with certain sizes. We'd want to say we have 6 of these, this size. Provide your proposal for the art piece and for the cost and all those kinds of things. So, it's not like a constant open dialogue where anybody can submit their samples of work. It's got to be specific to what we're asking for. So in the time that I've been here, we've done the crosswalks, and where we ask very specifically, right, who can respond to that, and then we also ask for, essentially it was a call to any artist to provide samples of art for consideration for anywhere throughout the city, but since then we have not done it again. So the next time we identify, whether it's the other side of the bridge or anywhere else, we'll do the exact same thing.
Perfect, thank you. Lastly, and I think the mayor and I had a brief conversation about this, but in seeing that, there's so many members of the community that are so enthusiastic and having so many questions and wanting to put input into our arts district and what's the type of art that's coming to the city. In the past, we used to have a beautification commission, right? And that mainly, and we had this conversation, that mainly focused on like the beautification of the city, and like homes would get, I think, monthly, they would pick a home that had the best landscaping and it was the most beautiful home in the City of Commerce. They would display a lawn sign, and it really encouraged residents to keep their properties clean, to take care of their landscaping. And I think moving forward, right, if you would like to consider doing the same thing again, like resurrecting it, but like making it work more towards maybe it could be Beautification and Arts Commission, where the community can have an input in everything that we're having an input in, and it could be funded through the funding that is already in the Arts and Public Spaces Fund. The mayor would serve as a liaison, but the community could feel like they're a part of the process. It's not, it's just a thought that should be considered. But as for me, I would like to see different artists, if possible. Something that I really like in reading Mr. Boteo's resume that he submitted to us is that he does the art with his students, and I think anytime we can give students the opportunity to leave their mark in our cities, like that's a really good opportunity. So, yeah, I think definitely finishing the wall with Calixto, but also giving the opportunity to Mr. Boteo to do the other side of the bridge. For me, I like the artwork that was submitted here. I'm looking at 2, 3, and 5. Those look really nice. That's my comment.
2, 3, and 5.
2, 3, and 5. Yeah, I think for 2, very representative of our. I think all of them very representative of our communities. It shows the different generations. 5 is just, I don't know, I just liked it. It's really pretty.
It is pretty.
La Liberty, yes. You know, so those would be my picks if we're taking suggestions today. That was it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just a comment, to answer your question, Councilwoman Rebollo. I recently set up a meeting with another artist from LA, so a local artist. We're exploring more creative and vibrant designs similar to what you see now, so we're going to meet with him this week, so that you know. That's my comments, thanks.
Let me just go off of some of the comments that Councilwoman Rebollo made. I think that we should reach out to local artists in our community. I know that there's a guy, his name's Art, and I forget his last name. Do you remember Art? We had an art show one time. Cheboyo or something like that?
Oh, Chaboya.
Chaboya, okay. We do have artists that are in City of Commerce. I have no idea why they're not reaching out. So is there a way to reach out to City of Commerce, if you want just Commerce for now, just to submit some of their work? That's it. That way we can start to engage with them, and when we find the wall for them, then we already have the art ready. And I think it'll be good to have them, even when we have well-known, famous artists that show up, these artists that live in our community can shadow them and learn more from them. Just like this, I didn't know that Friday, what happened Friday, I didn't know that it was going to happen, but I invited the artists that were here from Wynwood and a local LA artist to create something for us. They got very excited. They created some beautiful pieces for the city. And as a matter of fact, we'll showcase them at the next city council meeting, and we'll probably have it out in the hallway during the council meeting. And maybe we'll take a little 5-10 minute break. We'll have a little pastries, take a look and enjoy the art. And so I think that we should reach out to Commerce residents. And also with this guy, Paul, I think that it'll be nice to have him eventually maybe do some classes, because he's a professor as well. So he does. I had a great conversation with him, and he said, I said I was going to bring this to City Council and see if you guys like his art, and he'll show up and talk to us and talk about his art, and he'll also create a little tour for us to visit all his spots if you guys are open to that. But I like his art already. I know that this guy is pretty remarkable. So I agree with the local artists. So we could do that, Mr. City Manager, Kearney?
I have a comment.
Okay, so let's reach out.
I wanted the conversation to conclude, and I'll make some recommendations
Okay.
based on the comments.
Okay.
But, so I can do that now. So as I'm understanding it, for you tonight, you're going to consider one of these art pieces for the remaining piece on the, I guess it would be the
Next
western
option.
or northern bridge, right? Northern side of the bridge. And then put out an RFQ for the other side, right? And invite local artists to respond to that. And also, we can also tell them that they could also submit art pieces for potential wall art, right? So we can do it all both at the same time. So that's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
I have a comment. I have a
I
comment.
kind of, no, that kind of wasn't what I
Okay.
because since we have the other one already here, Boteo, I think if we could consider him for the other side, but then for our future locations, like it's here, you know how number 2 recommendation, it says our installation at various locations. For that, maybe we could do an RFQ, just so we don't have to hold it up. We could do an RFQ for those.
So, and you want the other artists for all 6 of the other sites?
Oh, the other side's all blank. You're right. I thought it was only one other side. No, you're right.
We're still exploring artists.
RFQ is good.
Yeah. I have a comment, Mayor. Mayor, I have a comment. You brought up that we were reaching out to local artists in City of Commerce. We did do that when we first created this committee, and I don't know where the miscommunication went, because they were, at that time, I think you mentioned that they were trying to reach out to us, but they couldn't get a hold of us. So maybe we can designate someone to be in charge of the emails or the phone calls. Can you
Okay.
designate someone? I don't know, maybe it's somebody part of the committee, like Lena or
Social
someone?
media for sure.
Yeah, I remember that issue, so we'll address it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
this has been a rocky start, actually, but we're learning as we go, because we've never had something like this. And now so many artists are starting to reach out and catch wind of what we're creating here. So we do need staff to be present to this and really take this serious and figure out a way that we're going to take the calls and emails. That way we don't drop the ball and miss out on some of the stuff, because there was a artist, a Latino artist, that he was coming out on commercials. I'll tell you, in Modelo, he came out in Modelo commercials during the Super Bowl and stuff. He was a pretty famous artist. He wanted to do something, but because we weren't responding, he didn't take us serious. So I'm not sure what happened back then. But we'll move on to Mayor Pro Tem. Do you have a comment?
Thank you, Mayor. Just thank you for bringing this in front of us. And I know you mentioned it's been a rocky start, but I think whenever you're building something and creating something new, it's not going to go perfectly or seamlessly. So don't be hard on yourself, right? Like it just is what it is. But the fact that you've had the vision and kind of like the willpower to kind of push art into our city, and I know it's been years, right, that you've been trying to do this. Like, thank you, right? Thank you for kind of staying the course. For what it's worth, I think we should let Calixto finish that side of the intersection. Personally, I like 2, 5, 8, and 10. I know some of those are portrait and not landscape. But of course, these are just maybe concepts, and he can just switch it up. But I mean, I think I'd be fine with any of those, 2, 5, 8, and 10. The other thing I'll mention is, to Councilmember Argumedo's point, that is a very busy intersection, right? It's actually a gateway into our city. So I think by putting lights and having eventually both sides filled out is going to be, a great way to introduce people into our city and really separate us from, the surrounding area. But I was wondering if you've given any thought to the bridge, right? I think UP controls that, but is there an opportunity to maybe, advance discussions with them to beautify it or like repaint it, or even do kind of like a mural along the bridge, right? And really tying in, the railroad is the backbone of America, right? And the heritage of our city and how critical our city is to just the movement of goods, right? So I think that would be a great entrance into commerce, right? So
I do too. That's such a great idea. Like, listen, I honestly, I want to say thank you, because I was kind of losing hope for a while on this stuff, but with Argumento pushing to finish that really gave me hope. I was like, wow, he really wants to finish that art, because I was getting so desperate that I just wanted to move it to Washington Boulevard. But I'm just so happy that you guys really like this stuff and believe in this vision.
I think this council is committed to the cause, right? For sure. Yeah. I just think, there's some things that maybe we need to look at. I think almost, I think RFPing each installation would be good, right? Getting more local artist buy-in, right? Almost starting like the outreach from square one. And I know there's things that you guys are working on behind the scenes, so I don't want to say that you're not, right? But, social media is important, right? This city just has so much talent, right? And I know a lot of people here in the city want to be a part of this. This is a great thing, and they want to be involved, so I think we should give them the opportunity to do that and make it easier for them to do it.
Absolutely. And this brings me to this, that we need to do a call for walls. We need to send a letter to every business here, and we've spoken to Robert Taylor, and we need to let them know that we've identified these areas as the arts district, and if anybody's willing to put their buildings up, for us to now start to engage with them and put art up there. I already have like 2 or 3 buildings on Washington Boulevard that are calling me and want us to put art up there. But I just, like I said, I'm just starting. We're just we're lifting off. And thank you for saying what you said, that it's just, I know that if it feels rocky sometimes, I'll get discouraged, or any of us, but you guys are really encouraging me and pushing me forward towards this vision. And I really think that it's time to send a letter to every business owner that's within the arts district, if you guys are okay with that.
I think I'm not opposed to it. I think we should make sure we remain focused on locations. So for me, just my perspective, right? I think it'd be great to finish that gateway and say, hey, look at what we've done here, right? And this is like a consolidated body of work. This is great. And this is kind of like the entrance into this arts district, right? And then, and I'm not saying stop the call for walls. I think that all needs to happen kind of like
right
on the side, because we all know that takes time, right?
Right.
But really just committing our dollars to that gateway for
Yeah.
now, and then gradually kind of
Well, okay.
building it all out.
And listen, I want to look at it this way. These dollars, we have $2 million, right? So what's going to happen on that bridge is very minimal, the amounts of money. And then we still have all this other money, right? So if we do a call for walls, then it gives us the opportunity to engage with these businesses, because it could take a while, right, for them to even respond. So if we do everything we can now, we're planting the seeds now, that eventually it's going to grow. You know, some are going to be like weeds, it's going to grow fast. Some is going to be like bamboo, which takes 10 years to grow, right? So let's move forward to finish all that bridge, and including, let's engage with artists that can, and UP with Lupe to see what we can do with that bridge, but at the same time, send letters so at least the arts district can know that they're the arts district. And then from there, if they start to call us, then local artists that are great artists from City of Commerce, we can now give them an opportunity. Hey, listen, we have this business. This is what your piece of art can go there. And we can start to identify, because honestly, we have so many walls. And there will be a presentation soon from the consultants that came in from Wynwood. They expanded my vision. What they're talking about, what they created in Wynwood, not only Wynwood, but in Colorado and other areas of the United States, has transformed these cities and made them really, really go up. And with the Citadel, what they were talking about us trying to create is like we can have art there, but an office there that will sell tours. Because just imagine having 100 pieces throughout City of Commerce. Then these buses will you pay them, and they'll tour you through these areas. At the Citadel, we have 20 million visitors there a year. Some of these artists that they're willing to bring have over 3 million followers from all over the world, and they follow them. So what does that mean is that they're going to come to City of Commerce. They're going to come stay at City of Commerce with hotels that are potentially going to go up in the future there, and at the Citadel visiting. And with us, maybe one day moving to create the food district before the Olympics is going to bring people here. And we're already recognized for so many things in City of Commerce, but to be recognized as one of the largest, beautiful arts district in this area will be remarkable. I went to the arts district in LA, and I saw that we can create something better than that. And I'm not saying that it's a beautiful area. I love it. But to have something with substance, with a lot more art, I think it's going to be significant for our community. Especially if we do this before the Olympics. But there I am.
Mayor, if I may, I just want to add something to your ongoing discussions. I'm on board with most of what you're saying. I just want to make sure we also focus on, we talked about the initial bridge there over here on Eastern, the Mixmaster there. But, remember, we have the other bridge here on Washington.
Yep.
We also have the bridge headed over to Maywood. And to me, those are sitting canvases that, one of the remarks I had made to our staff in the past was, hey, look, I believe it said Bridge to the Future or something. And I go, hey, look, either we change the name of that plate and, or we upgrade and fix that, in other words, upgrade and start maintaining that and keep it clean. But it's a great place because people coming in, everywhere they're coming or leaving, they're going to see that. These are stamps of, wow, these guys are really maintaining, really giving the city some color, some lighting, particularly the lighting. The lighting to me is very important. Any museum you go to, it has lighting. There's the initial lighting of going into a building, but there's also the lighting that's provided for the artwork for people to enjoy and see. So I think that aspect of it is very, very important to this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And the artists that you met, I'm not sure if they mentioned, but they did take a look at our bridge there on Washington Telegraph, and they do have artists that specialize on bridges like that. They were reckoning a lot of things. So eventually that'll get to us so you guys can make some decisions.
Yeah.
So I agree. Go ahead.
I was just really quick to answer your questions. We are exploring the bridges, and we're also exploring freeway exits to put some kind of design there to make it look beautiful.
For example, the casino, imagine there's these big old chips from the Commerce Casino, kind of like, it's just an beautiful statue. I think it'll be good. So we can start to engage with the Commerce Casino because they're part of the arts district as well.
Yeah.
So to do something like right off the freeway where they can see playing the chips from a casino, I think it'll be pretty cool. Things of that nature. So
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it.
we're excited.
yeah. So I mean, look, you guys want to choose a piece? Choose a piece.
I'll tell you what I think. I like number one, and, and I think that should be centered somewhere. I think like you should be kind of like a centerpiece, but the other ones that we mentioned, two, Councilwoman Rebollo, two, what was it? Let me bring it up
Two.
here. Hold on.
I like 2,
so there's
5.
3 people that
2,
like
3,
2
5.
right now,
Yeah,
and 2
two,
people that like 5.
three,
Okay.
I like 6 there. These to me are like great pieces, I
Yeah.
think, that really, they're just, I don't know, they're non-controversial, they're just good pieces that I think anybody would enjoy these pieces, and there's a lot of history in these pieces. But for me, I like the one. It's a good reflection of the makeup of our community, a good portion of the makeup of our community. So I like those pieces. 1, 2, 3, 6, and the 10 was kind of cool too. So.
Okay, so Councilwoman Garcia, which ones do you like? Because Kevin, did you say already? You did, right? I marked it. So on number 2, we have 3 people that like that. On number 3, we have 2 people, and number 5, we have 2 people.
You said the artist can make like some adjustments. So the only reason I didn't want to do number 1, because I do think it would be a little tiny controversial because it's only and look, I'm Mexican American, so like I'm just, I'm very like I'm only gonna think about the Mexicans, but no, right? Like our community is not just immigrants from Mexico. There's a lot of Central American immigrants also that reside in our community. So here we only represent the Mexican culture and the American culture.
Yeah.
So if we can somehow incorporate other, another.
I mean, that could be another art piece.
That's the only reason why I didn't go with that, because I was thinking like, oh, well, what about like our, like our Central American
Yeah.
residents? Because we do have Cubanos, we have, some from Honduras, El Salvador. And I know this because, right, we spend a lot of time at the senior center. So,
Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time in their homes where they invite me over to have cafecitos and food, and it's different foods all the time. So I don't look this great for no reason, So I think, that's the only reason why number 1, I was like, okay, if we can adjust it somehow to
So-
represent other cultures.
So Calixto, I'll tell you about Calixto. He's a little bit flexible, okay? He is. Not very flexible. And what I learned about artists, and Ernie can attest to this, is that the artists that are out there that are well-known will not want to adjust. We can set parameters on what we don't want. We don't want political, we don't want this, we don't want that, and they'll create something like that. But Calixto, if we tell him, hey, we want you to paint this, then he could start to add all of that. He can. So if you like that number 1, just know that there's thousands of walls in City of Commerce, and you can put it anywhere you want.
I think it's nice. I just think we have to think about the other cultures too.
Okay, so
Thank you for mentioning that, actually. And you're right. I mean, I did think about it. I also know the makeup of our community as well, but I get it. We wouldn't want
Yeah.
others to feel left out. And that's why the 2, the 3, and 10 to me are they're great pieces,
Yeah.
And it still has some historical in there,
Yeah, these are beautiful pieces, all of them. It's very difficult, right? But I mean, just know these are still all available at any time. You could say,
Can he come back with something similar to number 1?
yeah, I'll tell him that
'Cause I do like it. It's just that's something that I thought about.
to put somewhere else, correct?
Yeah.
To put somewhere else, because now we can choose a piece. They could put that, and I can have them work on number 1, but with a lot more culture. So if you can send staff or myself
So
Go ahead.
I think I understand, and I think we'll make it a part of the next, the phase on this side. So if I may help the conversation, can each of you pick 3 pieces of art to consider further? And then I'll just go down the line, whoever's ready.
Okay, well, I'm just waiting for Councilwoman Garcia to choose
I think we all picked.
a couple of them.
Yeah.
Because there's already people, there's one of them that have 3 already.
Well, one of your
I'll-
colleagues picked like 8 of them, so I'm saying if we pick 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
I'll narrow mine down, really, 2, 3, and 10.
And 10.
Okay. Councilmember Lainez, or Vice Mayor?
My votes are for 2, 5, and 10,
2, 5, and 10.
as the resident Central American on this council.
Anybody else ready? Councilmember Garcia or Councilmember Rebollo? What's your 3?
Whatever you want.
10 is really nice too, yeah.
Wow, this is hard. I like 6.
I'll be the tiebreaker.
Okay, 6, 10, and 8.
Okay? Councilmember Rebollo?
Mine is still 2, 3. Wait, nobody picked 3, right?
No, we have one.
Yes, we have 2 people, well,
Well, mine was 2, 3, 5.
Okay, and then.
But I'll give up.
Sorry.
I don't know. I like 10 too, but 2, 3, 5 for me.
Mayor?
put my vote on whichever one has the most, because I don't care what piece of art goes up, I just want piece of art to go up.
So to make it easier, really it's between number 2 and number 10. So if you want to vote for number 2 or number 10, I think that's the way we'll go. So how many votes for number 10?
I'll change my vote to 10.
Aye for 10.
So we got 2 for 10. Anybody else for 10? Because if you're not picking 10, then it's 2.
Because it's almost the same, if we look at it, guys, it's almost the same as 2. Right? It's depicting different families.
That 2, I'm going to tell you about 10. This 10 deserves to go on a wall on Washington Boulevard, large, because of the color of the fish is going to stand out. This frame is going to be a small frame. So something similar to what they're doing on number 2 or 6, I think would go good in a little frame. But this fish, the detail
because
of
the
it.
frame is small, right? It's the small
Yeah,
frame?
it's a small frame.
Okay, I would stick with 2
So
then.
I think like if you guys like 10, it should go on a wall that's 12 feet by 6 feet. And I mean, I actually like,
really nice,
for some
yeah.
reason, number 11 looks pretty cool too, for a big wall. No?
That's random.
And that's my favorite color, but that's.
So
we need more colors.
I'm
for the
colorblind.
remaining piece on the bridge, how many votes for number 2?
Me. Oh.
That's
Unless
1.
there's no
I
more votes.
selected 2 also.
I mean, I'm good for 2.
Okay, so that's 3 for 2. That wins.
Yeah?
No 10?
How about if we do 10 for the other side?
Huh?
How
10?
about, since 10 also got the same votes, let's put 10 on the other side,
You can
across the
certainly
street.
do that.
You want to do it across street? All right then.
say so.
I'm good with it. Let's put.
I think let's pick one because that goes against what we were doing now,
right.
right?
Unless
You're
we're
right.
gonna do all of the, if you want.
And I don't think so.
Hey.
I think it should be something else on
You're
the other
right.
side. Like another artist.
Another artist.
Another
Okay,
artist is what I
all
mean.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
You are correct. And I'm the one that said that, huh?
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with 2.
Yeah, you okay with 2?
So we're doing 2.
So
Okay.
the selection to finish the one side of the bridge is this number 2.
Number 2.
We'll do an RFQ for one or more artists to provide
Across the street.
proposed art for the other side. We'll open it up to all artists across the country and specifically in Commerce. And we'll make contact with the rail system for potentially the bridge. And to the Vice Mayor's point, if you visit the city of Santa Fe Springs, they essentially put a wrap on their bridge that says 60th anniversary or something like that. So it's a good, just visual piece for you to look at. And then the calls for walls will move forward, but I want the city council to understand, like, this is a long process, so we have to establish what kind of agreement would be between us and the private property owners. We have to establish just the rules in general, how this would work. But we already know what the art district corridor is, so we can reach out to the corridor, find out who's even interested before we move forward anyway. So that's I think there was some concern about moving too fast in that area. We could still move forward with all the other pieces, as the Councilmember Armento said, but do that at the same time. Okay? Does that summarize council action?
Is this all on number 9?
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't hear you, I believe we increased the amount of money for the electrical, so I believe it was a not-to-exceed amount, and we're looking at potentially
If we're gonna do both
45,
sides.
is that right?
If we're gonna do both sides, it should be a little bit more now than 25.
Correct. So we're looking at, all right, 50, not to exceed 50? And
So we'll increase the recommended 10,000 to 50 so that we can address both sides.
Okay. With everything that the city manager said, he better have taken great notes, and he could listen to this again. I mean, is there a motion to move forward?
Motion.
would second that.
There's a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Thank you. All right. So now we are at city council reports. So, I can start to my left. Councilwoman Rebo, you ready?
Let's see. I don't even remember what I did the last 2 weeks, but I would like to congratulate the basketball season that we just finished at all 4 parks. Congratulations to all the players. And I do want to bring to the attention, there is a parent that has been advocating at every banquet. She advocates for the same thing, and I think what kind of struck me is that this last time she said, I feel like everybody just thinks I'm crazy and nobody's taking my suggestions into consideration. So I want to say that we don't think you're crazy, and I do want us to have the conversation of at these banquets, looking at, and I don't like for us to always have to look to what we did in the past, but some of the things that we did in the past did work. And we want to look at the way we're running our banquets, because some of the older kids, and you know, talking, obviously, because my son's in level 3, right? And talking to that little group of kids, they're like, what are we going to go to the banquet for? We just get a certificate. It's just pizza. I'm like, yeah, well, we're recognizing your work, right? So I think let's relook at our banquets and just make them a little, think outside of the box. There used to be trophies for the first place teams, and that's really what kept the kids engaged and like really competitive at all the parks. And now there's only certificates. There's no recognition for the teams that that are in first place, you know. And I think that we just, you know, I know it's rec sports, but I agree with this parent, you know. We want to also, you know, teach our kids to be a little more competitive. And if they're always just going to get a participation trophy, like, are they really going to want to play sports, you know? So let's, if you know, you could just take that into consideration. I did speak to this parent and say, you know, I'm going to bring it up at the council meeting, because I guess every sport, you know, she's been advocating for, can we do something different? And nobody's really taking that into consideration. So I wanted to bring that up. Also, I did speak at the last, I don't know if it was the last meeting before baseball season, about us considering doing hot shot sports again. We have such a big number of participants, maybe not the same that we've had in the previous years, but we have a preschool program here. So what are we doing to retain these kids to play in our community? They're going to other communities because we don't have anything for the 3 and 4 year olds. I believe, is level 1 5 or 6 years old? I don't remember.
5.
It's 5. We used to have a hot shot program that was for 4 and 5 year olds. So I don't know how now we're only allowing 5 year olds to play in a league with 7 year olds and not considering the developmental stages. And if it's for the lack of staff, right? In the past, we used to have parent volunteers, and other cities run their whole program on parent volunteers. But in the past, we used to have parent volunteers just for hot shots. So I would like for us to, as an action item, to really, for the department to really take that into consideration and for us to sit down and really have that conversation, because we do need to continue to keep those kids here in our community. We're seeing how at level 3, they're dropping off. We're not, like for baseball, last year there was no team at any park because there was not enough kids. And is it because, and I know that we offer like different things other than sports, so maybe they're just going to these, to the fine arts, or they're doing other things, or is it because they're playing more competitively in other cities, even though it's rec sports, right? And I remember that the vision in the past, and I'm only saying this because I worked Parks and Rec, was even though that it was rec sports, we were getting them ready for high school sports, right? And so, again, even though it was rec sports, we still were a little competitive, and we were teaching basic skills, but we also were getting them ready to want to play at a high school level, because we don't have a traveling basketball team anymore, right? We don't have we do have a traveling baseball team. So we have baseball, volleyball, soccer, water polo, right? And maybe that's our feeder into high school sports, but let's think about also basketball, because we don't have a traveling team. And just all around, I think that our sports we should teach to be a little more competitive, and not everybody is going to be as competitive, and I'm not saying treat it as a travel sport, but our model that we used to use in the past when I worked Parks and Rec, it worked, and I don't see how it wouldn't work again. So I want us to really take that into consideration and have those conversations. Another action item is I would like to see information on, I know that when we were doing the sliding doors, I had a conversation about, hey, what are we going to do to make sure that, people are not just going in and out of the pool? And then there was an item that was brought before us about considering of the fencing. I wanted to know if we can get an update on where we're at with that, because I know we're having a lot of tournaments there, but there's no way to control who's going in and out of the pool, and that's probably the reason why they haven't been opening it. So I want to know what the update is and what our timeline is for that. With that, just to congratulate the Commerce Aces. It's really awesome to see the updates on our social media. Both age groups are doing amazing. It looks like they're just kicking butt out there. So congratulations, Commerce Aces and coaches. I want to wish Crush good luck in the next 2 weeks. They'll be competing at the Red Rock tournament. All the teams, and this weekend, good luck to our water polo program, which will be competing in the Cal Cup finals. And that's it. So thank you to everyone that's still here, and God bless everybody.
Thank you. Councilman Garcia?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. To answer some of your questions, Councilman Rebollo, when I brought that up to the City Council regarding the aquatics windows, we're working on that art piece too with recreation. I also brought up the hot shots, but I also want to go a little further. What are we doing with softball and our volunteer program that we used to have? So those are things that you should consider, Greg. So thank you, Parks and Recreation, for doing a great job with the water aerobics. I heard that, or I was informed that we were full capacity last night, and we're only in spring, so I can't wait for summer. Congratulations to instructor Lauren for running a tough but fun class. Keep it up. Let's make sure we add another class in the evening. Remember, we're at full capacity. And if you can remember to put the budget in for the summer classes for water aerobics. I also want to thank Councilmember Argumedo for coming out to meet the artists with us. We appreciate your support. Your advice is always welcome, and I'm glad we were able to see the artist perspectives. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
The mayor and I continue to work really hard for this arts in our community. And like I said previously, I met with an artist, and we're going to meet with him, with our committee, so that he can bring more creative ideas. And a couple of thank yous. I want to thank Anthony from Publishing for coming out and taking photos when the artists were at work. And thank you, Kat, for videotaping our mayor speaking about his passion in art. That was a very cute video. We continue to explore possibilities of the Stillcraft restaurants, outdoor space. And Mayor, can we adjourn the meeting from our lifelong resident, Rebecca Flores? She was part of our water polo family. and she was a professional. Became a special education reading coordinator. Her family, they all played water. Her family played water polo, and I'd just like to see if we can adjourn with Rebecca Flores. My condolences to the Flores family.
Absolutely. Yes, we will. Councilmember Argumento?
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you to the comments, Councilmember Rebollo. Thank you for the comments you made related to the recognition. I had the opportunity of attending the Veterans Park banquet, Bristol Park banquet, and Rosewood Park banquet, which my kids are a part of. But I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that at the Veterans Park, our staff actually bought medals for the kids that took first place. And Bristol Park, they actually bought trophies, and the parents did that. I believe I believe that the parents did that. And also on the Rosewood Park side, medals were purchased for the level 1 winners, and the parents, again, they went out and purchased the medals. So we should absolutely look at that. I don't think there's anything wrong in life in general. You have winners and losers, and I believe that basically we need to teach our kids. We need to teach them there's going to be times where you win, there's going to be times when you lose. And that's part of the program. You teach them to be good sportsmen, good sportsmanship, and all of the above. So we should absolutely look at that, and that is something that we did, that we were very successful about, and you continue to hear about it now. But I think we should relook at that and see what we can do with that. Also, we've had some discussions in the past related to our Hot Shots program, those little ones, and I think we should reinstate that. We should try to bring it back. So I would really appreciate us looking at that and see what it's going to take to make that happen. And also want to congratulate our kids on, our kids, Joshua and Josiah, who were part of the Rosewood Park Level 1. They did a great job, their team, and they actually, they succeeded. They did an excellent job. They won in their level, and I was really proud of them. And also, there was some reference made to our Sheriff's Department. They were at the 18th Annual Science Fair at Rosewood Park STEAM Academy. And again, Joshua and Josiah had an opportunity to make a presentation on Walking Rainbow, and they made a presentation and they won first place. So we were really proud of them, and they had their little medal. So we were very excited and very proud of their presentation. I was hoping somebody would have gotten it on tape, but we did, while they were practicing, we took some video of it, so I believe that Jessa's probably going to post it, so you'll probably see it. But they did a great job, and we were really proud of them, so big kudos to them, and to, of course, Jessa, who spent a lot of time with them and prepping them and working with them, and they did a great job. So again, just want to say thank you. I would like to see an update on Bandini Library. It's Library Week, and I want to make sure we get an update to see how we're doing over there. It seems to have taken a lot longer than we had anticipated, and I'd like to get an update on that so we can keep that on track and hopefully get that library reopened as soon as possible. I also would like to get an update on the Old Church's Chicken location on Washington and Atlantic, which I believe is the future site of Jack in the Box, who will be relocating. Hopefully that's still in the plans. But I'd like to get an update on that. I know that you have ongoing work there now. They're leveling the pavement over there, all the asphalt and everything. They're cleaning all that up now. But I'd like to get an update as to what the game plan is, when they anticipate being there, when they anticipate being completed, and I believe this dovetails into what you were asking about, the performance. We should know a little bit of, hey, when do you anticipate starting? When do you anticipate completing a project? That sort of stuff. So if we can get an update on that, I really would appreciate that. Thank you, and that concludes my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor, and Councilman. That's the reason I talked about the scheduled performance. When I was looking through the contract for the re-roofing project, I didn't see a schedule of performance, and then it reminded me of where we are with Bandini Library. I think we all recall that we were told it would have been done by the end of last year, and we are done with Q1 of this year. So, I think it's a good precedent to. Well, I think it's a good process to kind of begin and, just move forward from there. But I agree. I think we should have an update on Bandini Library to honor National Library Week, but also it's a big project, and I know that community is really anxious to have that reopened. I agree with the comments on Hot Shots. I think, I think trophies or medals for the first place teams is a good idea. I'll take it a step further, and I think there should also be consideration for individual awards, right? Like MVPs, right? Like Gold Gloves, things of that nature. So we can build up to that, but I know growing up, those were just standard, right? So I don't see why we wouldn't want to do that here this time around. But it does add a little bit of a competitive flair, and I think it just makes the program a little bit better, right? And with Hot Shots, I don't think 5-year-olds should be playing against 7-year-olds. I think what it does is it results in the 5-year-olds not really getting the time to understand the game or the sport that they're playing, and it also slows down the progress of the older kids that are aging out of that division. So I think we do need to look at Hot Shots, and as you had said, Councilwoman, there are some things in the past that we did that did work. That is one of the things that did work. So my comments there. So something to look at maybe as we look at the next or the upcoming budget. I just want to commend the Parks and Recreation team. I know I talked about Hot Shots a little bit, but I do want to commend them for promoting inclusivity and, it being National Autism Awareness Month here in April. I'll really say that the efforts to really include everyone and provide spaces for all of our people doesn't start and end with April, right? It's something that we do year round. And so I really want to thank the Parks and Rec Department for working so hard to provide spaces for everyone, because as we've said before, commerce is for everyone. It should be for everyone. And I could proudly say that it is for everyone, just based on the efforts of the Parks and Rec Department and all city staff, right? All city departments. And as far as the library department, also want to, commend the library staff on the great work that they're doing. It's National Library Week, but, I know the library always has something going on. They're very active, and libraries have evolved so much, since I was a kid, back when we used the Dewey Decimal System, there's so much programming and arts and crafts and financial literacy, and there's so much that the library brings here in the City of Commerce to our community that I just want to congratulate Sonia and her team on a job really well done, and I hope they have a great National Library Week, and I'm looking forward to the events that and the workshops that they'll be having this week. I also want to call out that on the 27th of March, I had the opportunity to attend the board meeting for the Commerce Business Council. So I just want to thank Robert and Jim for extending the invite. And really, I was just a fly on the wall, right? But it was really insightful to kind of hear, the state of the affairs of some of the businesses here in the city, and, some of the challenges that they're facing, some of the things that are working for them, and just some general updates on things that are coming up. We talked a little bit about Washington and Telegraph, and Ken Crow, the general manager of the Citadel, talked about spring 2025 or early 2025, which is kind of aligns with what you had updated us with, a few weeks ago. But I think there's also talks of the hotel at the Citadel property moving forward. I know that's going in front of the Planning Commission later this month. So just based on what, was shared with me, there's some pretty exciting plans for it. So we'll see how that goes. Lastly, I do want to offer my condolences to the friends and family of Rebecca Flores. As Councilwoman Garcia had mentioned, she worked for the library. She was a special ed coordinator, and she was a resident here in the city. And I know she did a lot of great work to be inclusive, right, and to, help our city's mission of just making sure that we provide spaces for everyone. So, my deepest condolences to Rebecca's friends and family. And that concludes my report.
May I say something really quick?
Yes.
I just want to thank the library staff for giving us our tote bags. They're really cute. Thank you.
I'll be short. The Gateway Cities, I attended the Gateway Cities. Thank you for, I haven't been there in quite a few years, so it was fun to be around some of the elected officials that have always been there. It was interesting on one of the comments, I know they told you I spoke, but if you can get, the AQMD or the people presenting said that they had some studies done that can prove that the heat pump air conditioning is a lot more efficient than gas furnaces. I really don't believe it, and nobody in my trade believes that. So if you can get those, I think it'll be great. And it's kind of like one of the questions you should ask is, what do you think will be more efficient, an electric stove or a gas stove? Or an electric dryer or a gas dryer, right? It's the same thing. And what they're saying is that an electric air conditioner is more efficient than a gas furnace. A gas furnace will cost more to run and operate, which is not true. So I would like to see those studies if you can get your hands on them.
I'll definitely request that. And I did hear through the grapevine about some of your comments. And, as far as the people that talked to me, they agreed with you, right? So I think one important thing to note is we definitely want to be, champions of the environment and sustainability and good practices. But we also need to understand that the Gateway Cities advocates for working families. And so when you have things like electric, they tend to cost more than gas, right? So I think we have to find kind of like a balanced approach, right? So I appreciate your comments.
Yeah, I do too. And for some reason, AQMD is not agreeing, but they should just be honest with us and just tell us that they're potentially just doing it for the environment, for the gas. Maybe the gas is causing some issues, the natural gas, and maybe they should just be honest with me. And then that just reminds me of government higher ups where they do studies on food and medication and say it's safe, but it's not, right? And they alter things, and then they make us believe that it's true, and the majority of the people start to believe that it's okay. And with them saying that you can run an air conditioner during the winter, it just reverses the cycle, and it's a lot more efficient than gas furnace is not true. And I forgot what I was going to say next, but one of the things that they said, they wanted me to make a comment before it got into a little deeper, and I just said, if you're not happy with your air conditioning bill in the summertime, then you're not going to be happy with your bill in the wintertime. So everybody started laughing, but I wasn't trying to joke. I was just being honest, the truth. So I would like to see those, and I would just like to hold government accountable to be honest with us. That's it.
I'll request that.
Thank you.
It's a good call.
Thank you. So the next meeting on Tuesday, we will be presenting some of the art that was created over the weekend or on Friday. And then we also have a surprise piece of art that one of our own employees created. And I saw a picture of it. It's a beautiful piece. So we'll have 3 large pieces out in that hallway for Tuesday. So I'm excited to present that. So at this time, we're going to adjourn in the memory of Rebecca Flores. Meeting is now adjourned.